At first, this bird looks almost too elegant to be dangerous, as if it belongs more to the morning light than to the violence of the grass. It walks with a slow, almost ceremonial rhythm, but every quiet step is entering a place where danger can be hidden inches away. From far away, it could be mistaken for a harmless wanderer, just another long-legged shape crossing the open grass before the day grows hot. But this is not a crane, and it is not a peaceful warder. Behind that calm face is the stare of a bird of prey. Unlike the raptors we expect to fall from the sky, this hunter begins its search by staying low, walking the earth until the earth gives something away. For the secretarybird, walking is not empty movement. Every step presses the grassland, testing it, disturbing. In this open world, danger does not always announce itself. Sometimes it is only a blade of grass bending where nothing should have moved. Its most dangerous weapon is not held in the hooked beak or hidden in the wings, but carried below the body in those long, controlled legs. The beak can tear and the wings can lift, but the real threat begins when one foot rises and the grass beneath it becomes a target. Across Africa's open plains, this predator does not rush or circle like most hunters. It patrols, turning. On the open plains, most predators announce themselves in ways we understand, with weight, with speed, or with wings circling high above the grass. A lion can make the ground feel heavy, and a cheetah can make the horizon suddenly break apart. But this bird's danger is quieter than both. An eagle waits for height to become a weapon, but the secretarybird has made a stranger choice, and to reveal itself. It walks like a hunter reading a page written in movement, where every bent stem and every broken rhythm can become a clue. The grass shifts, an insect jumps, a lizard breaks cover for less than a second, and the bird's calm face turns toward the mistake. A small animal freezes for 1 second too long, and in that single pause the secretarybird has already separated it from the rest of the grass. Every step is part search and part pressure, not rushed enough to waste energy, but steady enough to make hidden animals lose patience. It does not need to chase everything it disturbs. It only has to keep moving until the grass gives away the one target worth stopping for. That is what makes the secretarybird feel like a contradiction. The head of a raptor, the height of a walker, and the balance of a weapon. Those legs are not decoration. They are the part of the bird that turns elegance into distance, teeth, claws, and venom, keeping the head and body above the part of the grass where danger can strike first. When a snake lifts its head from the grass, the space between predator and prey is no longer empty. It becomes the difference between hunger and survival. For many predators, a snake is not simply food. It is a meal that can punish confidence before the hunter realizes it has come too close. One mistake can change the story instantly, because a strike from below may arrive before the hunter has time to correct its own body. The danger may come from a place the eye almost missed, through stems and shadows where the prey is small but never helpless. The prey is not helpless just because it is smaller, and the secretarybird's power begins with respecting that danger instead of pretending it is gone. So it does not rush in like a careless killer. It circles the moment with restraint, measuring where the danger begins and where its own advantage holds. It watches first, because the foot can arm-body change, staying outside the most dangerous range while one foot drops with a speed that makes elegance disappear. For a fraction of a second, the bird stops looking graceful and becomes something simpler, colder, and far more dangerous. The strangest part is how quickly the violence disappears. A calm walker becomes a weapon, then becomes calm again before the dust has finished falling. In one scientific study, researchers measured a trained secretarybird striking a rubber snake, giving a rare glimpse into the power hidden inside that elegant motion. The measured force was extraordinary, not because the bird looked brutal, but because so much power arrived from a body that still seemed perfectly controlled. The kick was measured at around 195 newtons, a number that sounds clinical until you imagine it landing in a patch of grass. That is roughly 5 times the bird's own body weight, delivered not as a heavy stomp, but as a precise strike from a body built around balance. The contact lasted only about 15 milliseconds, so brief that the strike is almost over before the rest of the body can seem to follow it. That is not a slow stomp pressed into the ground. It is a rapid decision made visible, a strike too quick to repair once it has begun. The bird has to aim before the foot lands, because there is no time inside the kick to rethink the angle or soften the mistake. First comes the reading, then the commitment, and only after that does the impact arrive, as if the whole hunt has been compressed into one step. Inside the kick there is no room for hesitation, because once the foot begins to fall, the bird can no longer negotiate with the moment. The decision comes before the impact, made in the eyes and balance of the body before the dust has any reason to rise. That is why its calm matters so much. Laziness, but the discipline that lets force arrive in the right place. Even the walk is not casual. It is preparation stretched across the grassland, a slow arrangement of distance, timing, and attention. Every movement before the strike is already part of the strike. The head lowering, the paws lengthening, the whole body narrowing toward one point. The leg lifts with precision, not panic, and for one suspended instant the grass beneath it has already become the place where escape will fail. This is a hunter designed around timing, where the foot must arrive before the prey has finished turning movement into escape. But the secretary-bird is not only a snake killer. That is the image we remember because it is dramatic, not because it is the whole life. Its real world is broader than one dangerous encounter, filled with insects, lizards, small mammals, and quick lives that hide in plain sight. Anything small enough to be taken from the open ground can become part of the search, but finding it still requires the same patient control. The grassland is a moving menu, but nothing here is served openly. Every meal hides, runs, freezes, or fights back before it can be taken. And sometimes bites back, so the bird cannot hunt so it turns the whole landscape into a test, pressing one patch of grass after another until something hidden finally answers with movement. It walks until something moves, and when that movement comes, the calm shape of the bird changes faster than the grass can hide it. The long legs that looked graceful a moment before suddenly become mechanical, lifting with control while the head locks onto one hidden point. One foot lifts, but the rest of the body stays impossibly steady, because power means little if the strike arrives from the wrong balance. The head locks onto the target, and suddenly the wide savanna narrows to a single patch of grass where timing matters more than speed. Then the strike falls, not as chaos, but as a clean decision made by a bird that has already measured where escape will try to begin. Not every hunt is a battle with a snake. Some prey is flushed, some is pinned, and some vanishes before the bird can finish the step. But the method keeps returning to the same idea. Control the space, keep the body high, and let the legs reach danger first. This is not the hunting style of an eagle, because the secretary bird does not need the sky to become dangerous. It has brought the hunt down to earth. Where an eagle uses gravity, a raptor that has made the ground its arena, and every step across the grassland is part of a hunting strategy built from patience. Because it lives so much of its hunting life on foot, it has to read the ground better than almost anything moving through the grass. The savanna is not empty, even when it looks silent from far away. Its life is simply written low. From a distance, the land can seem still and open, but at ground level it is crowded with signals that only a careful hunter can use. Under the dry grass, small lives move in cracks of shadow, close enough to be missed by anything that searches too quickly. Some prey survives by holding still, some by listening beneath cover, and the secretary bird's task is to notice the silence before it breaks. Reptiles warm themselves in the morning sun, and for a ground hunter, that brief comfort can turn a hidden body into a visible target. And sometimes a snake passes through a space where the grass barely trembles. A careless hunter might see only open land, but the secretary bird sees a field of signals, each one small enough to vanish if it moves too fast. A single blade bending the wrong way can be enough to change its rhythm, because the grass is telling the bird where attention should go. Sometimes the clue is not movement at all, but a sudden pause in the small life around it, as if the grass has briefly held its breath. A small line crossing the dust may last only a moment, but for a hunter walking this slowly, even a moment can point to something alive. Then a shape appears where there was no shape before, and the bird's stillness tightens around it before the prey understands it has been seen. This is why the walk matters. It is not just travel across the grass, but a way of forcing the hidden world to answer back. If it hunted only from above, it might miss the tiny beginnings of movement that start close to the soil and disappear under the grass. By walking, the secretary bird becomes part of the pressure of the landscape, pushing silence into motion without wasting a chase too early. Each step can flush something hidden, and the bird does not need every movement to matter, only the one that reveals the right target. Each pause can reveal something afraid to move, and each turn of the head narrows the open savanna down to one trembling point. When the target finally appears, the bird does not need a long chase. It needs one correct step placed exactly where escape is about to happen. With a snake, the encounter becomes a test of distance, because the space between them is not empty. It is the narrow border between attack and survival. The snake has speed, but mostly in a small range, and the secretary bird's advantage begins beyond the reach of that sudden movement. The snake can move from below, but the secretary bird has height over that range, keeping its head and body above the most dangerous part of the fight. The snake is built to strike forward, but the bird is preparing to strike downward, turning height into a weapon before the prey can close the gap. The snake must reach flesh, while the bird wants only to land force first, using the leg as both weapon and space between danger and the body. This is why the legs matter so much. They are not simply long, they are the structure that lets the bird attack without giving danger an easy target. Those legs become a living safety zone, allowing the bird to reach down into danger while keeping the most vulnerable parts of its body away. It can attack from above while keeping its face away from the most dangerous part of the prey, and in grassland that difference can decide who survives. But even with legs like these, the secretary force, the hunt is still dangerous, because one wrong judgment can erase every advantage. The secretary bird may look almost untouchable from above the prey, and in grassland that difference can decide who survives. Before it strikes, the bird has to judge angle, timing, and distance, because the foot must land where the threat will be, not where it was. It still has to avoid getting too close, letting the leg enter the dangerous space while the body stays just far enough away to survive. Most of all, it has to make the first strike matter, because hesitation gives danger time and a missed step, but precision under pressure in a space where both animals can lose. The bird must look calm because panic would waste the one thing it cannot afford to lose when danger is close: accuracy. When the secretary bird faces danger, it does not become frantic, it becomes narrower, reducing the whole grassland to one point of movement. The body stills, the head lowers slightly, the eyes stay fixed, and the lifted foot waits for the exact instant when waiting is no longer useful. Then the grass explodes with movement, and the stillness that seemed almost gentle becomes a sudden, downward answer to everything hidden beneath it. The kick is not a long display of power. It is a brief collision between accuracy and force, delivered so fast that the dust seems late. The recoil is almost as important as the impact, because the bird must recover its balance before danger can turn the next second against it. If the moment is not finished, it does not panic. It takes another step, measuring the grass again as if the first strike only opened the question. Another strike may follow if needed, but even then the movement stays disciplined, brief, and exact rather than wild. The violence is brief, but the preparation is long, and most of the hunt has already happened before the viewer sees the foot come down. This is the hidden rhythm of its life: hours of walking, long distances of patience, and of decision, when the bird seems to shrink the whole savanna into one moving point beneath its raised foot. And finally, there are milliseconds of impact, the part we remember, even though it is only the smallest piece of the hunt. From the outside, it seems impossible that such a refined animal can hide such force, but nature often places power inside elegance. Legends. The secretary bird's beauty is not separate from its function. The long legs, lifted body, and unmistakable crest, all open country is not just scenery for this bird, it is part of the design, giving those watchful eyes and long legs room to work. When cover grows too thick, the ground changes from a hunting field into a hiding place, and the bird loses some of the advantage its body was built to use. And although it hunts on foot, it returns to height to raise young. Building a broad nest above the grass, it spends its life reading. Up there, the hunter that can face snakes becomes something quieter, a patient parent tied to one place while the young grow slowly above the grass. Even a powerful bird is not powerful everywhere. At the nest, it cannot kick away time, weather, hunger, or a changing world. A young bird may inherit the legs and the outline of a hunter, but it still has to learn when the grass is empty and when it is hiding something alive. But the final danger is not always hidden in the grass, because a bird built for open horizons can still lose when the open land begins to disappear.